Khaybar represented a turning point in the history of Islam. And the warrior of Khaybar was none other than Haider. Imam alayhi salam is at the forefront of the army. The battle begins, and it begins by liberating the fort of Na'im. Because Khaybar had about 8 to 10 forts. And these forts were very well connected. Some of them were connected with underground passageways. And this made the fight very, very difficult for the Muslims. But Imam Ali alayhi salam is at the forefront of the army. So the fighting begins. And one by one, these forts are liberated. But then, here is something interesting that happens. The strongest fort at Khaybar was the fort of Qamus. At this fort, you had Marhab and his brother Al-Harith guarding it. No person in the history of that fort and in the history of Marhab was able to confront Marhab. He was the strongest Jewish fighter at Khaybar. But then look at the plan of Allah. When Muslims are about to go to this fort, up until now, Imam Ali is there. He's liberating fort by fort. When the time for the strongest fort comes, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam becomes ill. Imam alayhi salam goes to his tent. He can no longer fight because of his eye condition, but he still helped prepare the food for the Muslims so he can be productive and helpful. So Imam Ali alayhi salam is no longer there to be seen. I want you to see At-Tabari, the Sunni historian, how he describes what happens. At-Tabari states the Prophet then gives the banner to Abu Bakr. He tells him, go and liberate the fort. Abu Bakr goes with a number of his companions. They go to the fort and they come back. There's no victory. Umar ibn al-Khattab is given the banner the next day and he is told, go to the fort, liberate it and come back. But again, he comes back with no victory. The Prophet becomes upset. And when the Prophet becomes upset, he said his famous statement in history that reverberates until today. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa states, لَأُعْطِيَنَّ الرَّايَةَ غَدًا رَجُلًا يُحِبُّ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَيُحِبُّهُ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ كَرَّارًا غَيْرَ فَرَّارٍ يَفْتَحُ اللَّهُ عَلَى يَدِهِ. Tomorrow, I shall give the banner to a man. A man. That's the first description. These are the words of your Prophet. He loves Allah and His Messenger. That's the second one. The third one, Allah and His Messenger love him back. That's the third one. The fourth one, كَرَّارًا غَيْرَ فَرَّارٍ. He keeps going and going and going until he achieves victory. He's not a farrar. Farrar is the one who runs away excessively. These are the words of Rasulullah. So the Prophet makes the statement. But now the companions, others, they actually get happy. Because Ali is not in the picture. He is ill. So it's not possibly him. So it could be one of us. Buraidah, one of the companions of the Prophet, and this is mentioned in Sunni sources. So Buraidah says, that night we slept with eagerness. Who's going to have this honor tomorrow of carrying the banner? Ali is out of the picture. So it's definitely not him. He can't see. It's not possible that he's going to liberate the fort. So it's got to be one of us. So we all had hoped the Prophet is going to give us the banner and we'll achieve victory. And what an honor for us to be included in the statement of the Prophet. Everyone wants to hear who the Prophet is going to choose right now. Suddenly the Prophet breaks the silence and he says, where is Ali? Where is Ali ibn Abi Talib? Told him, Ya Rasulullah, Ali has ramad. He has this eye condition. He's in his tent. He can't even walk. The Prophet says, no, go bring him to me. The companions go after Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. They bring him to Rasulullah. He could barely see in front of him due to the severe eye pain and eye condition. He comes to the Prophet. The Prophet tells him, Ya Ali, what are you struggling with? What's the matter? He says, Ya Rasulullah, laqad ramadtu. I can't see in front of me anymore due to this severe eye condition. Prophet ﷺ took the head of Amir al-Mu'mineen in his lap. He took his blessed saliva and he wiped the eyes of Amir al-Mu'mineen with his blessed hands. Immediately Amir al-Mu'mineen was able to see. Imam Ali says, till the last day of my life, no eye condition after that day ever affected my eyes. I never had pain in my eyes until the day that I was struck. The Prophet puts the armor on Amir al-Mu'mineen. He gives him the sword of Dhul Faqar. He tells him, Ya Ali, go to them. The Imam says, Ala ma uqatiluhum. Ya Rasulullah, what do you want me to fight them for? What should I do when I get there? The Prophet tells him, number one, negotiate with them. Tell them, if they join us, they become Muslim, we'll be brothers. If they refuse, they can stay as Jews, no problem. But they have to give up their arms. They can no longer conspire and kill us. So Amir al-Mu'mineen, go and give them this offer. See if they accept. If they don't accept, they want to fight. At that point, then you have no choice but to fight them. The Prophet tells him, Ya Ali, go. To your right is Jibreel. To your left is Mikael. In front of you is Israel. Behind you is Israfil. Above you is the support of Allah. And you have the dua of Rasulullah. The Imam alayhi salam farewells the Prophet. He marches towards Khaybar. He's jogging toward Khaybar. He reaches the fort of Khaybar. He puts the banner at the base of the fort. Al-Harith, the son of Marhab, comes forth. And you know when the companions see Al-Harith, they run away. They leave Amir al-Mu'mineen by himself to fight at the fort. They all abandon him when they see the size of that body. But Amir al-Mu'mineen, with so much courage, with so much power, he deals a severe blow to Al-Harith. He kills Al-Harith. Next, who comes here? This is the decisive moment. Next comes the strongest warrior at Khaybar, and that was Marhab. You know what Marhab was wearing on that day? He was wearing a helmet made from a boulder, from a rock, from a stone. That was his helmet. You can imagine the size of his body for him to handle that weight. Imagine a boulder this big. He carved it, he put it on his head as an armor. How can you split that? What can bring down Marhab when he's wearing that and his other types of armors? But in front of you is Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. He is the Karrar, Yazdul Faqar. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi alayhi. The Imam alayhi salam comes facing him. Marhab is now very eager to kill Amir al-Mu'mineen. He was probably double the size of Imam Ali. He's like, this is easy for me. It's a small bite. And then he recites lines of poetry. Marhab. قد علمت خيبر أني مرحب شاك السلاح بطل مجرب. Khaybar knows who I am. This is Marhab. I have my sword here. I'm a warrior who's been tried. They have said Marhab never lost in the battle in his entire history. You know what Imam Ali responded to him? The Imam looked at him. He told him, أنا الذي سمتني أمي حيدر. أنا الذي سمتني أمي حيدر. كليث غابات كريه المنظر. I'm the one whose mother named me Haider. Why did the Imam mention this name? You know when the Imam mentioned this name, Marhab started to shake. Marhab had a nursing mother who would breastfeed him. She raised him. Now either she was a fortune teller, some say she was a soothsayer, fortune teller, but that's probably not true. She had read in the scriptures that the one who kills Marhab, his name is Haider, the king of lions. She had told Marhab since he was a child, she told him, Marhab, no one can kill you except a man called Haider. He is the one who will bring about your destruction. If you see him, run away from him. When Marhab hears this name, he begins to shake. This is Haider? Oh no, I better not mess with him. As Shaykh al-Mufid narrates an interesting hadith here. He says at that point, Iblis appears to Marhab. Sometimes Iblis, shaitan, he would take on certain forms. He appears in the form of a rabbi. He comes to Marhab. He tells him, Marhab, what's the matter? Why don't you go and fight? He tells him, this guy's name is Haider. He tells him, so what? Let his name be Haider. What's the big deal? He says, no, my mother, when she was raised me, she told me, don't mess with Haider. I'm not going to mess with him. Iblis tell him, come on, look at the size of your body. First of all, there's many Haidars out there. Why do you think this is the Haider that's going to kill you? There's other Haidars out there. Secondly, you're going to take the word of a woman with the size of your body? Look at him, he's so smaller than you. You're going to take the word of a woman when women get it wrong more than they get it right. He tells him, you're not going to take the word of a woman, come on. So he actually motivates him to go and fight Amir al-Mu'mineen. He comes running at Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen, with the power of Allah, with the sword of Dhul Faqar, he strikes him on his head. He splits the boulder open. The hadith states the strike of Amir al-Mu'mineen comes to the jaw of Marhab. He drops. It was such a powerful strike. Everyone heard the strike of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Right after that, Jibreel announces in the heavens, La fata illa Ali wa la sayfa illa Dhul. Marhab collapses. Then other Khaybaris, they charge at Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam from every direction. They take his armor. The Imam alayhi salam does not have a sword now. It's taken from him. It's broken. And now, even his armor is taken. You know what the Imam alayhi salam does? All historians have documented this. Ahmad ibn Hanbal in his Musnad, go read the history. The Imam goes to the door of Khaybar. He lifts the door of Khaybar. He uses it as a shield. He pushes them away until he liberates the fort of Khaybar that day. They asked Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, how did he pick up that door? The Prophet says, 40 angels supported him on that day. يا قالع الباب الذي عن هزه عجزت أكف 40 وأربع. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen. He picked up a door. When he threw the door on the ground later, 40 men came to move it. They couldn't move it. 40 men. They tried to move the door. They couldn't move the door. And he threw it 40 cubits. That's about 40 feet. Imam Ali was once asked, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, with which power did you lift the door of Khaybar? The Imam alayhi salam states, ما قلعتها بقوة بشرية ولكن بقوة إلهية ونفس مطمئنة إلى عودة ربها. I did not carry the door of Khaybar with human power. I carried it with the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ونفس مطمئنة. And I have a nafs that's mutma'inna.